So here on page 160 in the Record and Practice Journal, they're asking us in this first set of examples, 1 through 4, to classify the quadrilateral. In other words, just give all the names that apply to the shape. So the first thing we want to do is look at the number of parallel sides, because the number of parallel sides really tells the story here. As we look at number 1, we see 2 sets of parallel sides here. The top and the bottom, and the left and the right are clearly parallel to each other, which leads us down only one path. So this is clearly a parallelogram to begin with. Parallelogram by definition has opposite sides, parallel and congruent. Now just because it's a parallelogram, of course, as you know from looking at that quadrilateral image map, doesn't mean that that's the only answer. There are other possible answers when we head down that parallelogram path. This could be a rhombus. Rhombus has all 4 sides congruent, which, looking at the tick marks here, we have 1 tick mark through each of the sides, meaning that those 4 sides are the same. So rhombus is going to be a fitting definition as well here. It could be a rectangle, and it could be a square as well. But of course, rectangle and a square require right angles, and since we don't see any right angles, we would guess that that's probably not likely here. So number 1, we have a parallelogram and a rhombus. Now as we look at number 2, in number 2, we only see 1 set of parallel sides, the top and the bottom. Clearly, if I took the left and the right and drew them out forever, they would very clearly cross up here. So since we only have 1 set of parallel sides, there's basically only one answer here, and this would then be a trapezoid. And really the only thing you can do from trapezoid is move on to a special type of trapezoid, which is an isosceles trapezoid. Of course, from your knowledge of triangles, you know that isosceles implies that we have 2 sides that are the same. Clearly, we do not have 2 sides the same here, so this is only a trapezoid. Now, as we look at number 3, again, we go back to our concept of parallel sides here. And as I look at the top and bottom, I see that those are parallel. If I drew them forever, they would never cross. And same for the left and right here. So we're going to go back to parallelogram. And as you know from number 1 here, if that's a parallelogram, then there are some other answers we can consider. We can consider square. Square would, of course, though, imply that all 4 sides are the same. And this shape does not have 4 sides the same. We could consider the choice of rhombus, but that also implies that 4 sides are the same, and we don't have that. Or this could be a rectangle with opposite sides congruent and the right angles, which clearly this has. So this is a parallelogram, which also happens to be a rectangle. As we look at number 4, we start off here and we look for parallel sides. Well, in this particular shape, we don't have any sets of parallel sides. These, as we drew them out forever, would cross. These already do cross. These already cross. And these, if I were to draw them out forever, would cross out here. So since we have no parallel sides here, there's only one option that's even possible, and that's a kite. And of course, as you can see looking at this, this is a kite shape. It's tilted a little bit. If I turn the camera, you can see how we might go look at this as a kite, more like that way. But right now, that's the only thing that would fit. And of course, kite has to have consecutive sides congruent. And as you can see, these 2 sides here, consecutive because they meet each other. These are the same. And same going on here. So this is a kite and nothing else. Kite is kind of on a path on its own. You really wouldn't experiment with a kite beyond that.